You'll be poor forever if you're doing any of these three things. If you want to stay broke, go ahead and do them. But if you actually want to get wealthy someday, stop doing these three things. Pay close attention to the last one because it's the worst. But you follow me because I always give it to you straight. Number one, carrying credit card debt. If you're not paying your credit card balance in full every month, that's a huge mistake. Credit card interest can be as high as 25%, 30%, or even 35%. That means that every month you're just handing money to the bank that you worked so hard to earn. If credit cards keep getting you in trouble, stop pretending you're suddenly going to become disciplined. Cut them up. Number two, you're spending more than you make. This one sounds obvious, but millions of people are doing this every single month. If you aren't saving and investing at least 20% of your income, something has to change. Maybe you need to get a roommate. Maybe you need a cheaper apartment. Maybe you need to get a second job. Maybe you need to stop buying things that you think make you look rich, but actually are keeping you poor. Whatever it is you gotta do, start paying your future before you pay everyone else. Now here's the one that quietly destroys financial futures more than anything else. Hardworking people do this. Smart people do this. People with six-figure incomes do this. It feels like investing, but it's actually one of the biggest wealth killers there are. The average person, when it comes to investing, is constantly buying and selling. They're jumping into crypto after everyone else has made money. They're buying whatever everyone on social media is talking about. They think being active in the markets makes them a better investor, when it almost always does the exact opposite. The wealthiest investors understand something that most people never learn. They're patient. They ignore the noise. They stick to a long-term plan. Number three, rich people invest while poor people trade.
Now, he dropped three things there, which are obviously powerful. And like he said, if you are doing any of these three things, and if you're doing all of them together, you're going to be in big trouble. Let's go through them. So number one, first and foremost, not paying off your credit card debt. Some people even go extreme as saying, well, look, don't even pay credit cards. Don't use credit cards at all. I think Dave Ramsey. It's very wise. It's very wise advice, and obviously it makes sense because it's obviously coming from a biblical basis. The funny thing is, I was talking to my wife about this, was it probably yesterday night? I was saying to her, you know, it's actually interesting. I was reading something recently about Klarna, right? Very popular credit company, right? That will lend you money for you to go and spend, and obviously you do free pay or whatever it is. Something I read was saying something along the lines of they make most of their money, or a big chunk of their money comes from people needing to pay late payments. So you see when they say, well, look, and it's not just about Klarna, but this was just the example I have, right? You see when they will say, well, look, you can pay on Klarna and you can pay like in 3 installments or 4 installments or whatever, right? They make money when you don't pay and you have to pay a fine. That's where they make a boatload of money. And I was saying to my wife, I was like, you know what's actually crazy about that? I think if most people understood that companies like Klarna make most of their money, or a huge chunk of their money, from people missing a payment and getting fined, I think many people would actually not borrow the money. Instead, what they would do is, the wise thing to do, you have a plan to buy something and you begin setting aside money every single week or every single month to the point where you can actually make the payment in one lump sum and not have to pay any interest. I'll just leave it at that. Number two, spending obviously more than you make. This, as he said, is very simple, but so many people just many people think that they can outrun math. It, like, guys, 1 + 1 is always going to be 2, guys. So for those of you who are still making the mistake, I've been there in the past. I've got the t-shirt. I don't want it anymore. Don't spend more than you make. And this is the problem that so many people fall into. You've got a group of people out there who think, well, yeah, I can outsmart math. I can make 1 + 1 not equal 2 by doing some funky equation which is going to make you look like a fool and everyone's going to laugh at you. Just don't do it. There's a bunch of people that do that. Then there's a second group of people who are like, okay, cool, I know I shouldn't spend more than I make, but I'm going to stick on top of it. I'm going to be on top of it. I'm not going to do that. But every single month they find themselves going way over what they make. How does that happen? Think back to point number one, credit cards, right? But at the same time, it's people who are not disciplined enough to actually document their spending every single month. There's many ways you can do this today, right? Many easy ways. You know what I do? I have a note in my phone, right? This isn't revolutionary, guys. This is what I do. I have a note in my phone Every single time I spend money on something, I write it down in my notes. So you know what that does? That helps me have a journal, a log of things I'm actually purchasing. So number one, obviously, I'm obviously mindful of, okay, cool, I'm spending money on this, I'm spending money on that, etc. But at the same time, it allows me, if that isn't the best time then, to go to our family spreadsheet and to add it into our family spreadsheet. I do things very old school, right? I'm saying this to say you have no excuses, because writing a note in your phone and then going to your family spreadsheet at some point in the future and documenting it, right, line by line, that is very old school. But I'd rather do something which is very old school that works than not do it at all, and not put myself in a situation where I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to be like, no, guys, be disciplined enough to document it. Because you know what happens after you document your finances for a month? You're going to see what you're actually spending money on. You're going to see it right in front of you. And you know what's hard to do? Lie when there's glaring evidence right in front of you. Now, some people still do it. Don't get it twisted. But it's so much harder when you see, oh, I spent all this money this month on takeout. I spent all this money on new clothes, even though I've got a full wardrobe of clothes. I spent all this money on all these new gadgets, even though these gadgets are just going to be catching dust in your store cupboard or on your desk, like many of the other things you purchased the month before that or the month before that. You see all this stuff in real time and it's like, okay, I need to do better. And you know what happens after that? After you begin to see this sort of data more and more every single day and every single week and every single month, you start to make the right changes. And then as you make the right changes, you'll begin to look at this documentation right in front of you. And you'll desire to go back and to look at it more and more. You know, it's one of the things I like to do on a regular basis. Look at our family budgeting. And I'm like, wow, like all these bills are paid, this bill's paid, we saved this much this month, we paid off this debt this month, we invested in this stuff this month. It's all there. And when you right the ship, as I like to say, right, your ship may be going in the wrong direction right now, and you start to take these sorts of steps like I'm talking about, like the guy was talking about in the video, and it may feel slow at the start, but you know, they say it takes a lot of effort to turn a big ship. But once the ship is turned and going in the other direction and starts to get momentum, this is why you find joy now and you start to get excited about not only when money's coming in, but even when you're spending money. One of the things I love to say these days is, it's allocated. So when we're spending money on takeout, for example, or we're spending money on, let's just say, for example, like treats or whatever it is, in my mind, I'm saying, and obviously I say to the family and even to friends, it's allocated. It's okay. Because when you do the right steps, when you have the right foundation, all of the stuff which is going to come after it, right? When you plant the wise seeds in the ground, best believe a wise tree is going to sprout, and a wise tree produces wise fruit. So the moment you've planted those wise seeds in the ground, all you have to do at that point is continue to nurture that tree, and it's going to sprout out and produce for you. So when I look at all of this different stuff, you have to document, guys. That's how you spend way less than you make. And that's how you start to multiply the money that's actually coming in as well, which is obviously godly. Number 3, those who are wise, the wealthy people, they invest, they don't trade. And what he means by that, just in simple terms, is you've got a lot of people out there who they day trade. Now, for someone who used to day trade, right, I'm going to have to disagree a little bit. Why? Because you can day trade wisely and make money. But one thing I'll give him credit at is, how was I day trading? When I used to day trade, I wasn't day trading. All right, think about this like on a macro level and then a micro level. So he's talking macro. Wise people invest in the long term and they don't trade, right? So what is that showcasing? That's showcasing someone who makes a decision and lets time make them wealthy. Whereas you got people who are thinking long term, oh yeah, this is gonna make me rich, and they're day trading, right? They're investing in Coke today and then coming out of Coke or whatever it is, right? McDonald's or Apple or whatever it is that tickles your investment fancies, right? Loads of activity. That's how you blow money. So when you think about day trading, how was I day trading? I was day trading the way the people that make money day trading do. At least one form of it, right? For those of us who aren't in the institutions with the information, right? Minimal trading. So one of the rules I had as a day trader was 1 or 2 trades a day maximum. I used to teach people how to trade. You know, one of the biggest problems most people had when it came to trading? Over trading. 5 trades a day, 10 trades a day, 20 trades a day, 30 trades a day. So I'm showing you how on a macro level, if you're going to invest, investing in the long term makes a lot of sense. And on a micro level, if you're going to invest, because we do things obviously on a macro level, there's certain investments we make which are long term. There's certain investments we make today which are short term, but also have long ramifications. So you may exercise today and then do it tomorrow and then the day after. And that's going to help you today, yes, but it's also going to have a long-term investment. It's the same when we're talking about stuff like trading. So there's things that you're going to do today, still do them in a wise way. Don't do them in a foolish and a poor way, because you're going to do, if you do things foolishly and poorly, you're going to get foolish results and poor results. If you follow the 3 things this guy said in this video, you will continue to prosper financially. If you don't follow what this guy's talking about in this video, you are going to suffer financially. You're going to be in what I call financial hell. And you're not going to come out of it until you start making the right decisions. Guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, don't forget to react righteously. God bless.